A super fun slate of games from week 5. Our biggest takeaways: there are no more unbeatens in the NFL. The Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens, of course, have the same record after 5 weeks, and a whole lot more from week 5 on today's Peacock and Williamson.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look at the NFL on the field and in the front office with elite breakdowns to next-level analysis and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Love our everydayers. Thanks for hanging with us through 5 weeks of the NFL season. We're not done yet. Still one game to go. We'll talk about the Monday Nighter on tomorrow's episode, and we'll get to your mailbag questions on Wednesday. So hit us with those at BD Peacock, at Williamson NFL, or in the YouTube comments, and sub up while you are there. And today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by Mazda. And when it comes to Mazda and Mazda vehicles, by the way, you got to drive one to feel it for yourself. But like the players, Mazda sweats every detail. That's why they're great cars. And when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. So stay tuned for some highlights later in the show this week's Mazda moving the game forward. Move and be moved. So let's go. Let's start backwards and start with the primetime Sunday nighter. And it was the Buffalo Bills that take their first L of the season at the hands of division rival New England Patriots, 23-20. And young Drake Maye developing right before our eyes, Matt, and had a really good game. Drake Maye did. And really, in the end, I think it was that, the Patriots played tough. They played hard. They played the Bills close and kept it close, and the Bills just made a few more mistakes than the Patriots did, and Drake Maye made fewer mistakes than Josh Allen did. I think that's totally the story of this game. I think another angle to this for the as far as just skill players go, you look at the Patriots and Stephon Diggs, little revenge game. He talked about how he had so much love for Josh Allen after the game because there's that now famous picture of the side eye where Stephon Diggs is walking by Josh Allen and looking at him, and he's like, that photo just got caught at the wrong time. A lot of love I have there. But you could tell he was fired up for that game, and he was phenomenal. 10 catches for 146. But Josh Allen can't be your leading, yard getter running the football, and, he can't throw to himself. 9 for 53 yards. Josh Allen ended up being the leading rusher for the Buffalo Bills. It was almost like, okay, let's just wait around for Josh Allen to do a Superman thing, and he couldn't quite pull it off on this night.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. And I think it's a wonderful story. We even brought this up on Friday, that if anyone's going to challenge the Bills in the near future in the East, it might be the Patriots. And we thought maybe, Big Brother's going to mash them down while they still can, teach them a lesson. But the young upstart team showed us something. I mean, to go into that environment had to be brutal. I mean, that place was wound up. It's going to be one of those, that might even be the last night game. I'm not sure about that in that stadium. Place was lubed up, to say the least. And it's a wonderful story that, Maye is emerging, and I've been a huge Drake Maye fan, and the Diggs story angle is great. But the huge key to the Bills' success lately, and I mean this over the course of the last couple of years, is they always win the turnover battle. They don't take sacks. They don't make many mistakes. And Allen's the perfect embodiment of that. He used to be a wild stallion, and he's just eliminated mistakes. And frankly, Belichick would have been proud. The Patriots just made fewer mistakes than the Bills.
Yeah, absolutely. They did their job a little better than the Bills did on this night. And don't look now, the Patriots are 3-2. The Bills are 4-1. So only a game back of those Bills now at the top of the NFC East. And a 3-2 football team is now only one game out of being in the lead in their conference, because there are no more unbeatens, including the Buffalo Bills, who are 4-1. And then you got to look at the Philadelphia Eagles, who take their first loss, and it was at the hands of the Denver Broncos. And both these teams now 4-1 Eagles, 3-2 Denver Broncos, 21-17, a massive fourth quarter push for the Broncos, who come from behind. They had only had one field goal on the board in the first quarter until they had 18 fourth quarter points to come back and beat the Eagles on the road Denver Broncos, huge win for Sean Payton and the Broncos.
Absolutely. And I think Nix is getting back to where we thought he would be. They ran the ball pretty well. Dobbins is having a really good year. I thought Sutton was fantastic in this game. And Denver's D is pretty much always going to be good. And it was yet again. Benito had 2.5 sacks. I mean, he's making a strong push for Defensive Player of the Year. And they sacked Hurts 6 times. And that's all great. I mean, congrats to the Denver Broncos. I think they're a very good football team. But you're winning this game. What was it? It was, I'm looking at it just, quarter by quarter. 18 of Denver's 21 points came in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And you gave Saquon Barkley 6 carries.
Yeah, it was 17-3 3 quarters, and then it was 21-0 favoring the Broncos in the fourth quarter, or 18-0 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. I mean, so you had a lead the entire game, and you only had 11 rushing attempts with a lead, and only 6 of them to Saquon Barkley. I mean, that's not how you put teams away. And I mean, it's so opposite of how they've played. What are you doing?
Weird to be up second half, and you're not
mashing them,
shortening the game, mashing, run the clock out in classic Eagles fashion, and they would kind of be doing that from the first and second quarter, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not that hard, and I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to ask you anyway. It's not that hard to deduce what's going on here. Were they trying to force it and give the squeaky wheels some grease?
It seems that way, and I was listening to another podcast that described it really well. That it almost feels like the Eagles play callers and coaching staff feels like they have to get everyone their touches. We got to get a couple touches for Goddard. We got to get, Smith his, and now we got to get Brown his, and as opposed to just doing what's best for the team, and I think Hurts needs to play a certain way. And a lot of it is utilize Barkley. I mean, he's not just Joe Average back. It's not like, oh, you only gave Javonte Williams 6 carries. That's Saquon Barkley. I mean, what are we doing here?
Speaking of Saquon Barkley, this year's version of that, Matt, is in
Crazy.
Indianapolis, I think. And
I think you're right.
I mean, I don't think we have to spend a lot of time on this game, and it wasn't really going to go in this spot for us. But since you brought it up, I wanted to bring it up because it just dawned on me when I'm watching these football games on Sunday. And, in 2023, Christian McCaffrey went crazy, and he was a player that had some injuries, and maybe you forgot how good he was. Last year, it was Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. His Giants career went a certain way, and then he had some injuries as well. He goes to the Philadelphia Eagles and goes crazy. And for Jonathan Taylor, he didn't have to change teams, but it's kind of a lesson. It's like next year in fantasy football, draft that super talented running back that you kind of forgot about. And
that's always been good, but now he's about to be great.
Yeah, it's kind of a different guy. And this year is Jonathan Taylor. I mean, it wasn't much yardage in this one. It was 17 for 66, but 3 touchdowns on the ground. And they pulled him in the fourth quarter because they were up 40 points already. They had 40 points by the time the third quarter was up. 40-6, they just blew out the Raiders, and the Raiders are not quite ready to be super competitive, or the Colts just that good at 4-1.
Both. I mean, I think the Raiders are so disappointing, and there's a couple teams that you thought might have hope this year. Professional coach, quarterback, Geno looks bad. The line looks bad. They're terrible. I mean, if we were to do power ranks, they're a bottom 5 team in a league that has a lot of bottom 5 teams. Maybe there's 7 or 8 bottom 5 teams, but I'm all in on Indy. I think they're in the level of like where Denver is, like we just talked about. I'm not sure they're the best team in the league, but they're going to the playoffs, and they're good, and they're hard to play against, and they got a lot of weapons starting with Taylor.
A lot of weapons. They've got a good running back. They got a good tight end. They got a bunch of wide receivers that all have varied skill sets, and they spread the ball around, and Daniel Jones doing a really good job. So got to credit the coaching staff, got to credit Daniel Jones for not being cooked and showing he had more. Like, it's funny because a lot of people have left the Giants and done a lot better elsewhere, Matt. Like it's a trend.
Yes, that does not look good at all for that squad at all.
We'll talk about the Giants, who were not victorious, and there are now there's no more unbeatens, and there's now only one team left that hasn't won a game yet because, Matt, the Tennessee Titans won a football game, and we have to talk about how bad this Baltimore Ravens team is playing, and you can't even blame it on missing their quarterback either. Next. This episode, Peacock Williamson, brought to you by Square. And there are certain businesses that make the neighborhood the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of home, whether it's a sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game day, or that beloved local chain that's been rooted in your community for years. These businesses are what bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. And I grew up in a family with my dad running a small business for decades in the neighborhood, and it is so important. And whether you're talking about businesses like Bear Bottle Brewing in the Bay Area. They got a location in Santa Clara, not too far from Levi's Stadium, or in Matt's neck of the woods in Pittsburgh. How about Wiggle Whiskey Distillery? And I know for a fact that Matt has frequented there because he's got a bottle in his hands right now. So go check out your local spots. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/LockedOnNFL to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. This episode is also brought to you by Mazda. Mazda and moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. And this week, there's a number of different ways we could go and angles we could talk about for the biggest highlights of the week. But I think I've got to go with game-winning field goals. And it's the forgotten phase of the game. And we saw in the Sunday nighter in prime time, kicks to win the football game. We saw in the Tennessee Titans going down the field, helping out their rookie quarterback who makes the right throws to kick the game winner. We saw the barn burner we're going to talk about here with the Bucs and the Seahawks. Field goal as time expires, game winner. And for those teams and those franchises, that move the game forward. And when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Okay, let's start with the since we're talking about wins and losses here and no more unbeatens, let's go to the teams that have finally gotten the monkey off their back. Brian Callahan can not hear about how he needs to be fired, at least for 1 week of this NFL season, as the Tennessee Titans beat the Arizona Cardinals. They go on the road 22-21, and I know this is going to feel great for the Titans. And Cam Ward was able to make some big throws and a confidence builder for this team. But in a lot of ways, it was the Cardinals that blew this as much as the Titans won this. And but good on the Titans for getting their first win of the season. They're not going to go 0-for-17, as Tyler Rowland of Locked On Titans thought they might after last week's game. 1-4 Titans now, and the 2-3 Cardinals, who are looking way up in the NFC West.
Yeah, I was going to mention what Tyler said. That any win's a good win for this team. If we're talking about like they're the worst team we've ever seen, and you get Ward a win on the road, great. And so many of us lost our eliminators because of this. Trust me, I mean, that was a rough one. And Ridley came back and looked strong. I mean, okay, now we got somebody between him and Manor. There's guys that are helping out the quarterback a little bit. Okay, I guess there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. But when you go, hold on to the ball when you go over the goal line. I mean, what are we doing?
It happens so much.
What is going on?
Is technology the fault of this? The only thing I can think of is these players are running down the field. They see themselves on the screen.
Yeah.
They think they're in a different spot. But if there's a delay on the screen, it would actually make you hold on to the ball longer. So that can't be it either. I don't know what it is.
It should happen like once every 3 years.
To be honest with you, in this one, I think he still had control when he went over the line.
I thought it was a questionable call, to be honest with you. Like, I probably wouldn't have dinged him for it, but
it's too close. Take a step into the end zone and then drop the football. What is the need to drop the football so quickly? It's pretty insane.
I mean, even like, I'm so old, but I mean, even like back in the day, Dion's high stepping, holding it over his head. But at least he has control of it. You know what I mean? I mean, like, it's not going to just slip out of his hand, I mean, it's not even like they're showboating. And sometimes they just slow down and think they're in. But that's why he lost. I mean, it's brutal.
Yeah, and so if you're the Cardinals, it's funny, and this is what happens because fan bases are reactive. So if DeMercado just holds the ball over the goal line in the end zone and the Cardinals win this game, And it changes the entire dynamic of the football team. What you're talking about. So you're talking about a 2-3 team instead of a 3-2 team. And the fans say, "Oh, this team's bad. You can't even beat the Titans." Well, you did beat the Titans even still, but you lost the game because of this one thing. So if he just holds on to the ball a half step longer and you win the game, is it all of a sudden, oh, the Cardinals are really good now? Because every single thing else on the team is exactly the same as it would have been. Right?
Exactly.
So the Cardinals are really bad.
Rarely can you take a football game and just break it down to one play, but that's enough for this one where the results would have been different. There's no way Tennessee comes back and wins.
A team where they haven't been one play away and they've put multiple bad football plays on the field is the Baltimore Ravens. We got to have a conversation about the Baltimore Ravens, who are 1-4. They have the same record as the Tennessee Titans after 5 weeks, which is yikes. And they got blown out at home at the hands of the Houston Texans, who are now 44-10. If this game would have happened in week 1, as high as I was on the Texans, the whole conversation for the entire season would have been different for these teams, right? But the Ravens had a really fun week 1 game, but they gave up a lot of points. And that defense is now officially a problem. 44-10. This is more points the Texans scored in this game against the Ravens than they did in the first, I think, 3 weeks of the season. Maybe all season up until this week. And so is this a matter of the Texans have kind of figured it out and are now humming 4 touchdown passes from C.J. Stroud, spreading it around? Or is this a situation where the Baltimore Ravens are bad to the point where you got to start firing defensive coordinators? Because their defense flat out stinks. You cannot blame this game on Lamar Jackson being out and Cooper Rush being the quarterback.
No, there's a lot to unpack here, and I actually did because the Steelers were off. So my Steeler podcast I recorded last night for today, I just went around the AFC North, which is a disaster zone. People are just laying down for the Steelers right now. I think there's a lot to unpack here. First off, I think I am buying the Texans. That this also looks like a playoff team. Maybe they're at that Denver level, Indianapolis level, where, okay, this is a quality football team. I've always been a Stroud believer, and they took advantage of a lot of weak links, to say the least. Now, if we were to take the exceptional Ravens roster and say, who are the 10 guys you could afford to lose least? I think 8 of them were out of this game. I mean, it was Hamilton, Egbuka, Stanley, Humphrey, Roquan. It was ridiculously bad. As bad as I've seen, including your Niners last year, in terms of stars being sidelined. Someone was talking about how much cap space and Pro Bowls were sitting out yesterday. I mean, it was a shell. But this is embarrassing. And it shouldn't be this bad no matter what. And what I talked about a lot on my podcast was, even though times are bad in terms of your best guys being out, they're losing at the line of scrimmage from day one of this season, especially the D-line. But the O-line's not they're not opening holes. They're not using Henry. They're not playing the same way. Now, I'm not sure if I'm ready to bury this team, but they play the Rams next week. That's terrible because I'm sure not everyone's going to be back. I don't think Lamar's back. Then they get the most needed bye in history. Then things get easy. So what I mentioned was, could the Ravens after the bye win like 8 out of 9 and be officially the team you don't want to see in the playoffs? Maybe. But they have some fundamental issues on both lines of scrimmage that you can't just blame injuries on.
Great news, though, for the Ravens, because guess what? You don't have to be healthy or have your starting quarterback to beat the Rams, as the 49ers
has shown, yes.
Yeah.
Rams coming off a long week, too, now I think about it.
Long week, and probably got a little slap in the face and a little angry. So
yeah, that's a tough one for Baltimore.
And, yeah, you know, you talk about the eliminator, the Titans win, probably killing a lot of people's eliminators for the season. We talked a lot about the guillotine leagues in the preseason this year. And it's funny because Derrick Henry is killing everybody's guillotine teams, because in the guillotine league, you know, once your team goes out, your players go into the free agent pool. And so
is everybody grabbing Henry?
Top guy, they bring him in, you put him in your lineup, and then you get
guillotined. Okay.
What's going on right now?
I didn't think of that angle. It's pretty funny, actually. Yeah.
We've got to talk Bucs, Seahawks,
Yes.
So, Brian Schottenheimer, job saved for another week. Ravens, how many more games you lose before you start firing people over there? Just real quick? Or are you on the cusp where you got to make a big change right now after this?
I know we got to cover all the games, but if you remember last year, they lost like their entire defensive staff. Seattle took their coordinators, made him head coach. And then they went and got Dean Pease, good friend of the organization, to kind of right the ship. Remember, like last year, everything got better from X point on. It was like week 10 or whatever. They moved Hamilton around. They changed a lot of stuff. I don't know if Pease is in the building anymore, but this is not a ring endorsement for Connor Orr, I guess is what I'm saying. Orr needed bailed out last year, and it's way worse this year.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen that in recent history with teams trying to figure out how to saw it with the Niners. They went through multiple defensive coordinators, and luckily Robert Saleh got fired so they could bring him back and they could figure out that whatever was missing after D'Amico Ryans left. We saw it in Philadelphia where they lose both coordinators and it was hard to replace. And then they ended up firing a guy and then getting, again, both getting veteran guys who've been there before. Vic Fangio came back and then fixed their defense. And I wonder if the Ravens are in that area right now.
Not an issue for Detroit.
Detroit figured it out. That's why
they for sure figured it out. Yeah,
they look like the best team in the NFL potentially right now. 4-1.
Speaking of AFC North, the Bengals might be worse than the Ravens. They're so terrible.
Play against the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah. 37-24 win for the Lions. They rolled even with 21 fourth quarter points for the Bengals. I think that was more about the Lions kind of shutting it down and
basically
to shorten that football game. Jamar Chase got his fantasy owners a couple touchdowns at least though.
Late, he was still trying, and he made a couple plays, and Hendrickson made a couple plays, but overall, this was just domination. And the Lions are one of the best teams in the league. I mean, I had some doubts early in the year, but I do not anymore.
The only team to not win a game yet, the Jets, the Saints get their first win, and that barn burner we've been talking about with the Seahawks and the Buccaneers, we've got to get into that one, and I have to take my medicine. I have to stand up at the podium and face the music about a bad take of mine, Matt, as it pertains to one of those football teams. Next. This episode of Peacock and Williamson brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. NFL season rolling along, almost done with 5 weeks now. Can't believe it's already almost week 6, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. And I don't know how long this offer is going to be around. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. The most bonus bets I've ever seen them give away in the 8 years I've been doing this podcast. If you win, all you got to do, again, win that first $5 bet, and you get $300 in bonus bets. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app, weekly lines, player props. You could build your own parlays, same game parlays, live in-game betting, and follow along on those live lines. And you feel something go in a certain direction, you can get in it on that time, even if you don't get in on it before kickoff. And beyond kickoff, how about before first pitch? Baseball playoffs, always fun. NHL hockey and NBA season right around the corner, getting really close there. So whether you're a casual fan or love diving into stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Buccaneers Seahawks looking a lot better than the days of old when they wore the throwback uniforms that they were wearing in week 5. It was a 38-35 game. I came away from this one liking both teams. Being impressed by both teams' quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield maybe made one more throw than Sam Darnold in this one. I want to highlight the throw he made to rookie wide receiver Emeka Egbuka first here, Matt, and we can get more into this game. But a dime from Baker Mayfield, and Emeka Egbuka is super legit. I called him a number 2. I remember my take before the draft was like, I like Emeka Egbuka, but I wouldn't be running to the podium to draft him in the first round because I don't think he's a number 1, but he's a really good player. He'll probably be a good pro. He's not going to be a number 3 or 4. He's not going to be a 1. He'll probably be a nice number 2 in the NFL. He looks like the most legit guy I've seen from Ohio State. And those are the craziest talented receivers we've seen in the last decade come out of there. He looks better than all of them, man. He has everything. He runs routes. He is physical. He is fast. He's got pure hands. And he's a pro already. Like people rave about him. 7 catches, 163 in that touchdown. Emeka Egbuka is for real, and I was too low on him. Period. He's good, and to be honest, I would draft him today, right now, for my NFL football team over all of those other Ohio State wide receivers. Marlon Harrison Jr. I'd take him over Garrett Wilson. I think he's a little bit more physical than Garrett Wilson. Just how fast he plays, how good he's running his routes right now. Emeka Egbuka is legit. Olave, I'd take Egbuka right now, rest of career over all of them.
You haven't mentioned Smith and Jigba. We got to bring him up too, but in a minute here.
JSN.
I get it. So we have conversations lately, the last week or two, on Locked On Dynasty that I'm on just on Wednesdays, and Marcus will ask me things like, in Dynasty, would you rather have Egbuka or CeeDee Lamb or Nico Collins, like anyone not named Jefferson and Chase? I mean, he's to like that level, and it's really hard to pick anybody else at the moment, especially before yesterday. It was a little easier. This one's like, man, they didn't have Evans. I mean, Baker's going to be, they're just going to produce. So I thought this game was super fun. And over the course of this podcast, I've mentioned teams like Indianapolis and Denver. And I think both these teams are in that tier too, where I think they're legit playoff teams, could win a playoff game, good teams. Maybe these teams even meet again. This had a playoff feel to it. But I kind of loved some of the parallels too. Baker versus Darnold, same draft class. They've had a really bumpy road to get here, and they were like flawless. They were both, heavyweights just punching each other in the face, and the last man standing wins. And they're each throwing to a young Ohio State wide receiver that is phenomenal. I expected a little more out of both defenses, but they were basically helpless. And I kind of felt bad for Darnold in that the play that, quote, lost them the game was a tip ball that bounces off someone's helmet and gets picked. I mean, it wasn't even like a bad play by him, and that was probably enough. Like, if they play 300 more minutes, they still might be tied,
Definitely. Yeah. Fun game. Both those quarterbacks made good after bouncing around multiple teams in the NFL and then finding their right spot, finding their footing. And it's funny because Baker Mayfield was asked this week because they were teammates in Carolina. So Darnold and Mayfield are friends. And you look at the Carolina
Panthers, draft process
like,
together,
Bryce Young, I can't wait to see where but he has to go somewhere else first. So his third team, Bryce Young, might be something still. When you think about the Carolina Panthers, who, by the way, beat the Dolphins 27-24 this weekend.
Rico Dowdell, went kind of crazy. I don't know if this was just two terrible teams, which it probably was, but I actually felt like both teams showed a little bit of signs of life. Waddle and Waller and Dowdell. I bet they're just two terrible defenses when it's all said and done, and not a lot of people paying attention, but it ended up being a pretty fun game.
I think you nailed it. It was the exact opposite. The Bucs Seahawks was two good teams, and it was a fun game. Dolphins Panthers was two bad teams, and it ended up being a pretty fun game, 27-24. And
they're just evenly matched. They're just different levels of evenly matched. Right?
You can't let Rico Dowdell go for 206 on you.
No.
It's not a great look. And really quick, I want to bring up the quote, the Baker Mayfield quote, if I can find it here. And he was asked about that during the week about his friendship with Darnold, because they were on the same roster for a time in 2022 with the Carolina Panthers. And the reporter said, quote, "Do you and Sam ever reminisce about the good old days in Carolina?" And Baker said, "Reminisce on what days? The good old days in Carolina." Oh, nope. No, we don't. So there you go.
I mean, maybe the old days in Carolina, the good part needs to probably be removed from the sentence. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They probably do reminisce about Carolina, but not the good old
playing golf together at a nice course in Carolina or something. But yeah.
It hasn't been the quarterback's fault there for a little while in the Carolina Panthers. All right. We're running out of time here. Let's get to some more of these football games. Congrats to the Saints. Get their first win of the season. Spencer Rattler, I think, is now 1-10 in his NFL career as a quarterback. Gets his first NFL win, 26-14, a bad interception thrown by Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart had a nice little start last week. I don't think there's a ton to take away from this football game. Again, this is another one with a couple of bad teams. And
I think Rattler's playing reasonably well.
Yes, that is the big takeaway. I think even in the losses, Rattlers look like he might be a little something. I don't know if he's going to be the long-term starter for the Saints or anybody else in the NFL, but he's not looked like a terrible quarterback. It's not the reason the Saints are bad.
I could at least write the story that if the Saints have the 6th pick in the draft, they take the best defensive end in the draft instead of the third quarterback, or something like that.
Right.
Maybe. As for young quarterbacks, Dart's really fun. And I didn't like him much coming out of Mississippi. I'm liking him more and more and more. Don't get me wrong. But he still makes a ton of mistakes and doesn't see things. And when in doubt, he just runs. You know, I mean, he's very raw.
He's got young quarterback tendencies.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like there too as well.
Oh yeah.
The Jets are the only team that still does not have a win this NFL season. 0-5 now, and they kind of getting worse week after week. The defense bad.
I'm shocked how bad the defense is.
Bad, and things not going great there. It kind of feels like a blow up coming there. And the Dallas Cowboys now don't look 2-1 on the season, 37-22. And apparently there was some chance about MVP for Dak Prescott.
He's playing at that level. You're going to have to win more games to get in that conversation, but I get it. They're going to score on everybody. I mean, they run the ball really, really well, and even without Lamb. So good for them. I mean, I still think their defense is really bad, but I wonder, could the Jets be one and done coach and quarterback? I mean, Fields to me is just not the answer at this point. He's never won a game he started where his team allowed 20 points.
I was looking at the Justin Fields contract, and he's got a lot of guaranteed money. It was a weird deal. I'm surprised.
10 million guaranteed next year.
There's a lot of dead money next year, so he's not even a player that you would probably be able to cut. So Fields is probably going to be around unless you just eat all that dead money. Because I was making jokes this weekend about, can't wait for Justin Fields to complete the circle and go through the Kyle Shanahan car wash after the Niners trade Jones away. And then all of a sudden Fields will be a good quarterback, right? Which I'd love to see. It would be a very interesting science project to finally see all those quarterbacks from the 2021 draft play for Kyle Shanahan. But I don't think he's going to get out of his contract. So I think Fields.
They might have the first pick in the draft, though.
Right. They might draft a guy for Fields to, get replaced by. But
yeah.
I don't know if they'll cut him. But it might be a lot of people. I don't know. I don't know what you do if you're the Jets, because they kind of needed to do it already last year.
I thought it'd be a little better than this.
Yeah.
Defense is hideous.
Last one, Chargers. Look out, having a little bit of a rough patch here as they fall to 3-2. The Commanders come in, and despite 10 first quarter points, that was it for the Chargers offense. 27-10. The Commanders now improved to 3-2. Jaden Daniels back. Bill Merritt. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt going for 111 on the ground and 2 touchdowns and some more in the passing game as well. Deebo Samuel looking pretty vintage Deebo for the Commanders. He's not washed yet.
I thought 1,000%. No McLaurin, but Deebo is a force. Bill's good. Bill's real good. Yeah, and Daniels coming back obviously has a strong effect. It's just tough times for the Chargers, though. They just keep losing offensive linemen. I'm curious if more info comes out tomorrow, but Hampton left this game late too, and it was like Vidal getting carries and those type of dudes. Oh, 2 things. We were talking about MVP for Dak. Well, those chances have stopped for Herbert, but to no fault of his own. He's under pressure like 70% of his dropbacks. It's insane.
It's not good. Same as last week. Last week it was just nonstop with the Giants beating them. So they've and you lost both your tackles. That was one.
Yeah, and it's not going to get better.
So what do you?
It's not going to get better. And I'm going to do a congratulations. I was shocked by this, but not really. Keenan Allen set the record for 1,000 receptions in the fewest games in NFL history. I'm like, wow,
that's something.
That's something. I'm like,
Jerry
wow.
Rice.
Right. I know people throw the ball more now, but still, I wouldn't have picked him to be the guy that, maybe Larry or,
Larry or Ross or Rice or one of those guys.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, congrats, Keenan Allen. Let us know what you think. We've got a Monday nighter to go to finish up week 5. We'll get to that on tomorrow's show, Chiefs and Jaguars. And, of course, get your questions in for this week's mailbag. Drop them in the YouTube comments. Subscribe while you are there or wherever you listen to this podcast. Matt and I back tomorrow right here, Peacock and Williamson.